I'm a big believer in mentorship. One, in terms of face-to-face people that you can go and learn from, and two, from what I call aspirational mentors, people who've done a lot more than you, who you may never meet, who may have passed on, but you can still learn from their success. It comes from the core understanding that whatever challenge you have in front of you right now, somebody else has already solved it. Whatever big problem you're facing in your life or in your business, somebody has already solved it, and you don't need to come up with every ingenious solution yourself. This is one of the things that saved my first business. One of the two most important lessons that I've ever learned in my life was, whenever I don't know what to do, whenever I have a big problem and I don't have the answer, I look for somebody who has already solved it, and I try to learn from their lessons. In my first business, I had a software company. I was struggling, making $300 a month, barely able to survive. And I was just trying to come up with all these ideas myself. Like, okay, how about we do this? How about we do this? How about we do this? And nothing was working. And I told my partner I quit, and it was the worst day of my life. And when I woke up the next day, I realized I didn't want to quit. I just couldn't keep going the way I was going. And the light bulb moment was, I realized I'm not the first guy to try to sell software before. Maybe our specific kind of software, yes, but in general, other people have figured out how to sell software and make lots of money and target lots of customers. How did they do it? And I looked at Bill Gates and how he got started, and that started the process to me being able to build a real company. And that lesson that I learned at 19 years old has stayed true for the past almost 20 years, where every time I don't know what to do, I look at who can I model. It's why the name of this channel is Modeling the Masters. It's why I try to showcase lots of different successful people from all walks of life, because you can learn from them. I'm learning from them. And even today, in all my different businesses, earlier this week, I went to SoulCycle with Alex. So SoulCycle is a spinning company that has a great culture, recently came to Toronto. I think they're based in New York, it might be LA, but they came to Toronto, they opened up a location, and I heard so much about their culture that I thought, I'm trying to build a culture here at TDS. We have what I think is a really good culture. If you can compare our culture to most businesses, I think it's amazing, but it could always be better, right? I want to model even greater success. And so Alex and I went to their class, and we learned from them. We saw how they set up their store and their merch, and how the staff greets you, and how the instructor starts a class and runs a class and ends a class, and what happens in the locker room. Like, all the different pieces, you learn from them. It doesn't mean you're going to apply everything, but if you take one lesson here, one lesson here, one lesson here from people and companies that have had great success, it just makes you better. And so I would seek out mentors that you can meet face-to-face, or you can do now Google Hangouts with, or ask questions from. If anybody's doing a live stream, you get a chance to ask a question. I wish that existed when I was getting started as an entrepreneur. You have so much more access to people than we've ever had before. But even if you're not going to the direct approach and hitting somebody, look into the aspirational mentors. Finding people who've done it before, even if they've passed on, their legacy have left a series of clues that if you can follow those clues, you can apply it to your life, to your business, to achieve success. Whenever you don't know what to do, instead of trying to figure it all out yourself, understand people have done it before. Seek them out, learn from them, apply it to your business, and you can have success as well.
Now, how do you get a mentor? There's 3 different kinds. I want to break them down and teach you how to get them. Let's go. The first mentors are in-person mentors. These are people who you meet for coffee, people who you can hang out with, people you can sit, face-to-face with and ask them questions. They may not have had as big a success, right? As much as, I love Kanye West, I haven't met him yet. Howard Schultz, I haven't met him yet. These 2 I'm never gonna meet, Steve Jobs, A.P. Giannini, but I haven't met those 2 yet. And even if I do, or when I do, I'm not hanging with Kanye every day over coffee asking him some questions. So there's people who have some success, but they may not be the top of the top. That's okay. They're further ahead than you are. And so you look at people who are local, look at people who you can make time to connect with and ask them questions. Show your hunger, show your drive. Mentors love giving back and helping out, but they hate wasting their time. And they feel like it's a waste of time often because mentees suck. Most mentees suck. Most mentees don't do the work. Most mentees don't do the work because it's hard. And so you need to show to the mentor that you will do the work, that you will follow through, that you will do it. And then they'll feel great because they'll see a younger version of themselves in you. That's what you want. I had a guy named Carlos who wanted to do an interview with me in Toronto, and he was from New York. I said, okay, you know what? If you get here from New York on this day, I'll do the interview with you. And so he took a bus overnight to get here. So it's a 9-hour bus to do the interview with me. And then he asked afterwards, I still have a couple hours before I have to go back home and catch my overnight bus again. Right? Overnight bus for half an hour in Toronto and then overnight bus, right? That was his plan. Can I hang out with you? Can I just see what you're doing? Can I ask you more questions? And I said, you know what? Yeah. And anybody else, typically I would have said no to and move on with my day. But I said yes. And I brought him back to my place and we filmed some more content. I answered some more questions from him because he showed that he was willing to work. And this is a guy who's gonna win. He doesn't let the fact that somebody's in Toronto and he's in New York stop him. Even though he doesn't have a car, even though he couldn't afford the flight, right? Buys a bus ticket overnight, there and back. Even though, you know, he's got a wife at home and he's got responsibilities and a full-time job and all of it. He made it work. And so I wanna help him. I gave him extra time that day. I'm talking about him now here, you know, on this video. Carlos, shout out. I love you, man. You're gonna crush it. That's the process. So you can reach out to people who have done what you wanna do and then share your story and show your willingness to work, show your willingness to take their advice and apply it, and you'll get far more yeses. Step number 2 are what I call aspirational mentors. These are actually my favorite. These are people who I love learning from that I may never meet or can't meet, right? These two, I can't meet. I'm never gonna meet Steve Jobs. AP Giannini is the founder of Bank of America. He's my favorite entrepreneur of all time. I'm never gonna meet him either. They passed. I've still learned a lot from Kanye and Howard, even though I haven't met them yet. You can learn from people. You can dissect their success and learn from them, even if you never meet them. So if you're saying, well, I'm in the middle of nowhere and I can't get somewhere. I don't know anybody in my family. I have no connection, zero. How do I get started? Don't let that defeat you. You could learn from aspirational mentors. That's what this channel is all about. Find the people, 2 types. One, who are in your industry who've done it. I learned from Bill Gates because he was in software and I was in software. So look at the people who've done it. Anybody who's big, even though I was in biotech software and Bill Gates was in productivity software, that's 80% of the rules are the same, right? How he did it, I can apply 80% to my success. Then you only have to figure out that final 20%. So look at people in your industry and then look at people who you just love. Look at people you look up to and respect. I love AP Giannini, who is the founder of Bank of America, because he was the believe banker, even though I'm not in banking. I love Steve Jobs, even though I'm not making tech gear. I love Howard Schultz, even though I'm not, you know, creating coffee, right? Whoa, almost spilled it. I love Kanye, even though I'm not rapping. Although I do have one rap. You guys should check it out. My Believe rap in Chinese. The song is in Chinese, I rap in English. But I don't have ambitions or aspirations to be, you know, a rapper. I can learn from all these people, and so can you. If you love somebody, for some reason, you can still learn from their success because success leaves clues. And so you should definitely ramp up the aspirational mentors that are filling your head. And the third kind of mentors are a hybrid that I would call online mentors. And these are people who could be aspirational mentors and you may never meet them and you may never be able to afford to hire, you know, one-on-one with them, but they're going live online. They're creating content. If they're just creating content and they're just, you know, posting videos on YouTube or posting videos on Instagram, I would call that an aspirational mentor. If Tony Robbins creates a video for YouTube, you're learning from him. It's amazing, right? It's great, I love it. But Tony Robbins may go live on Instagram. Lewis Howes may go live on Instagram. Evan Carmichael goes live on Instagram multiple times per week, every week. You can come in and ask questions. And so for all these people who you look up to and respect, go to Instagram, turn on notifications, go to YouTube, look for when they go live, and when they're there, be the first. I can't tell you how many times I go live on Instagram and people are afraid or shy to ask questions at the beginning. I love bringing people in live where we're both in there picture in picture. But at the beginning, people are always afraid. They're afraid to ask the first question. They're afraid to put up their hand and potentially be picked to come in live. But after we get started, after the first few questions come in, then it's a flood of questions. And then I can't answer all of them. So take your shot. Follow your mentors online. You don't even need to be active on Instagram to follow people on Instagram. And when they go live and you have one burning question for Tony Robbins, for Lewis Howes, for Evan Carmichael, get in there first. Raise your hand and say, me, here's my question. And hopefully you get the advice that you need. And then your next job is do the work. Whenever a mentor gives you advice and says, here's what you need to do, go and do it. Don't come back with a different question 10 minutes later or a week later. Go back and do the work and do the work and do the work. Show that you respect them and you're willing to put the work in.
If you want to know how to stop being a quitter, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there. You need to do things that make you proud of yourself.
Success is painful. It's a lot of work, a lot of stress, a lot of failure, a lot of rejection.